Shall we begin?
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Enough to Keep Going podcast. This is episode number 209 for September 9th, 2021. 9921, that's right. And 209. It's a lot of nines in there and twos. This is our deep dive episode. This is where we'll go through the news from the last couple weeks or so and kind of pick them apart, see if we can get a little bit more than just, spouting off the news for the last couple weeks. We'll kind of dive into it a little bit more. But before that, I'll introduce you to my other co-host for the night. Unfortunately, we were supposed to have three of us tonight, but DBQ Hams could not make it. But I do have my bird brother here, Mr. SwissGuard. Swiss, how's it going?
Doing all right. I think I'm ready for the weekend already, and which isn't a good sign coming off like the 3-day Labor Day weekend. But
That's right. Yeah, I'm out there with you, and I actually had Tuesday and Wednesday off too. So this is my first day back at work for was today. But yeah, I'm ready for the weekend. But enough of that. We got actually a good bit to talk about, and some late breaking news I believe we'll get to at the end here from our friends at Sony. But let's start with you, Swiss, on some social cultural dynamics. What do you got for us first up?
yeah, so there's the broader cultural issues sometimes intersect with the gaming community, and it's kind of fodder for our deep dive episodes. So I saw this on PC Gamer. I think it was also on IGN, and I also saw this on non-gaming sites reported. So this is kind of one of those issues that crossed over. The PC Gamer headline: Ex-Tripwire CEO asks fans to continue supporting their games after exit following comments on abortion ban. So, the Tripwire CEO John Gibson stepped down from his role at Tripwire, and I guess I'm not terribly familiar with Tripwire. I guess they're kind of like a higher level publisher. I've heard of Chivalry 2, which Torn Banner Studios made, and I think they did Killing Floor. But they're kind of like a higher publisher. But the Tripwire CEO John Gibson, he's stepping down and is going to be replaced by the co-founder Alan Wilson. Was the current vice president, now is the CEO. So John Gibson tweeted out his support for the recent Supreme Court ruling, the heartbeat abortion ban in Texas. He tweeted that out, and then there was a subsequent backlash, and basically, Tripwire put out a statement. They ended with, let's see. The comments given by John Gibson are of his own opinion and do not reflect those of Tripwire Interactive as a company. His comments disregarded the values of our whole team, our partners, and much of our broader community. Our leadership team at Tripwire are deeply sorry and unified in our commitment to take swift action and to foster a more positive environment. Effective immediately, John Gibson has stepped down from CEO of Tripwire Interactive. So there were some other statements made from some of the studios that Tripwire, I guess, provides publishing support for. Shipwright Software, Shipwright Games or something, put out a statement and said that they're going to begin trying to break away effective immediately, I think is how they phrased it. And so his tweet, I don't have it here in the article. Proud of U.S. Supreme Court affirming the Texas law banning abortion for babies with a heartbeat. As an entertainer, I don't get political often, yet with so many vocal peers on the other side of this issue, I felt it was important to go on the record as a pro-life game developer. I guess like for me, the biggest thing was like the cross-cultural impact. I'm curious if he felt like he was kind of putting himself out there and was expecting to have to resign. The resignation came pretty quick, but the backlash came pretty swiftly for that. And the other thing that kind of intrigued me was kind of alarmed me, kind of intrigued me, was the reaction from some of the developers, because I have to think that John Gibson is not the only game developer that has this political opinion. So, when Tripwire, I guess I would have hoped that Tripwire would have just come out with a statement saying John Gibson's views are his own. They don't necessarily reflect the views of Tripwire Studio, Tripwire Interactive. We have employees here across the ideological spectrum joining together to make games, and I don't typically I don't particularly enjoy stories like this, but like I said, it was the broader impact, and I don't really understand potentially like how it looks to the employees that would agree with John Gibson. I'm sure he's probably like in the entertainment industry more than minority, but there's a lot of gamers out there that would also share John Gibson's opinion, and you're kind of alienating them too. So it's I kind of, when I read this story, there's like an old, I don't know if it's apocryphal or if it's like true or not, but somebody once asked Michael Jordan why he didn't get political, and I think he said Republicans buy sneakers too. And so anytime I see a story like this, it kind of reminds me of that. And I also think it's a challenge because as a company, you want to position yourself, where your belief lies. And I guess, yeah, I'm not sure. It's difficult, but uh, I'm not terribly enthusiastic about the way Tripwire or Shipwright Games handled it.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of going back and forth. I actually saw this article. I think did you? I forgot who put this in here. Oh, you put it in here,
I think
right?
I was the one that put in there, yeah.
Yeah, and I had saw it the other day too, and I think I was gonna throw it up there. I didn't get a chance. I got busy or whatever. But I was just thinking, it's like, regardless of what I think, um, it's like, oh, you know what? I mean, is it? I think what surprised me the most, and maybe it shouldn't surprise me the most, is how fast it all turned around. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, you saw the backlash from the internet community. I'll put my air quotes in
Yeah.
there, and then it was like almost immediately he's like, all right, this guy's gone. Like the next day or two. It's just like what? And just like you were saying too, there's probably other people that feel that way too, the same as him. And now they saw what happened to him, so of course they're not going to say anything more than likely. So
Yeah.
maybe down the line they'll leave the studio or something like that. But I mean it's
I'm
hard
not,
with these kind of
yeah.
scenarios where like this is not, how do I put this? I don't want to say it's not important, but it's not something say like something like sexist or racist and stuff like that. This is, I don't want to say completely different, but I mean it's in the same vein as those
Yeah, I
kind of
know
scenarios.
yeah, I know what you're saying. People feel very strongly about this,
Yeah,
but it's not something where, you know, somebody committed a crime
right.
and is being under investigation from like whatever.
California.
So, yeah. um yeah, like I said, I don't like these stories, but you know, I also like kind of wanted to bring it up because it was like it feels very I don't want to, like, there's a part of me because I like the gaming industry so much that I want to see it as different from all the other like corporations, and it's just, to me, like, I wasn't terribly surprised after this happened and how swiftly it happened, because the internet lynch mob is a thing, and
Yeah.
I shouldn't maybe I shouldn't say it. I don't want to phrase it that way. Internet lynch mob's probably the wrong way to put it. Uh, like the swift reaction from the internet is always a thing, both sides will swiftly react to the other side, and it's I don't know that I don't I shouldn't be naive to think that the gaming community is like immune to that. Like, obviously, I shouldn't
Yeah.
be naive to think that the gaming community is immune from internet um, flame wars, or so to speak.
Yeah.
But
I think that thought process is probably like kind of hit everybody, all of us within the last year, just with everything that's been going on. It's like, oh, this is happening in the gaming industries too, with
yeah,
everything I had mentioned before. It's just like, oh yeah, it happens here too. It's I mean, it's a corporation, just like um, anything else out there. So they have their same set of problems and other problems too, obviously different ones than a normal just like business. So, but yeah, it kind of, that perception I think has definitely been shattered this past year with everything that's been going on lately. All right. Any other comments on this story?
no, we don't need to. We can move on.
Okay. Let's go on. And actually, this next story was actually from Mr. DBQ Hams, and it is current generation console shortage may continue on to 2023. This is an article from GameIndustry.biz. Excuse me, and it was see, Danielle Partis, I believe is how you say her last name. She was getting quotes and just kind of talking with Toshiba, Japanese manufacturer, and they were saying how because of the shortage on materials needed for producing semiconductors, obviously that's kind of hit everything, even not just the game industry, but specifically for the game industry. She was saying how at least the next year, and then possibly going even into 2023, it's going to be you're going to have a hard time finding those consoles. As I think you, Swiss, are still finding hard unless you've gotten a PS5 that I don't know
No,
about.
I haven't. I
Okay.
haven't succeeded yet.
I assume you would have said something within the chats,
Yeah,
Discord.
I would have flaunted it by now.
Yeah. So in the article, they mentioned, according to Bloomberg, the company plans to invest 60 billion yen, which is about $545 million, in supporting the production of semiconductors over the next 3 years. And they also mentioned how earlier this year, Microsoft, Google, and Apple have formed a lobbying group with aims to promote semiconductor manufacturing in the U.S. to kind of solve the shortage that's going on right now. But I mean, and then that's pretty much the whole thing of this article. But as a person, obviously that's having issues trying to find console. I mean, is that concerning to you? I mean, are you fine with it? Because I think you have a PS4 Pro, or do you just have a regular PS4? I can't remember.
Just have the regular
Just regular.
PS4. At the time, I think I just recently upgraded to 4K, so
Oh, okay.
and I didn't value the potential benefits of the PS4 Pro enough to invest in that with PS5 on the horizon.
Yeah.
So I also didn't anticipate having this much trouble getting the PS5. So uh, it is what it is, I guess. Like I can't control it. It just makes me like feel um we took for granted the times when we could go to Sears and buy the Super Nintendo off the shelf
Yeah.
back in the day. Um, you know, I it's it stinks, but it's the situation, and we're certainly not the only industry feeling this pinch either. So
Yeah. I mean, I know. I mean, just off the top of my head, I could just think of, obviously the auto industry has been getting hit hard. Like you go by a dealership now, there's like barely any cars out there because they're not getting chips for their cars in there, so they can't showcase anything. And it's kind of, I was having a conversation, or there was a conversation going on in another Discord server that I'm on, how they were talking about pre-orders of software, which obviously you really don't have to do nowadays. I mean, everything's, if you're mostly digital, you're pretty okay, and even physical stuff you can usually find. But in this case, if you did pre-order one of these machines, I mean, I think you lucked out that you're able to get one. And it's just kind of the opposite with the consoles now, which is kind of weird. And that's obviously just the world that we live in right now, where there's shortages on certain things now, and it's fortunately I was able to get the Series X, and I believe DBQ got the Series X recently, and I got Game Logic has the Series S, so they were at least able to pick something up fairly early on. DBQ obviously just did it, I think, a few weeks ago or a few months ago, so I think he got lucky. I still see almost every day, every other day. I would say every other day probably, worth Twitter posts that different companies or just people that I follow. They're always throwing up, hey, there's going to be PS5, Xbox, here, or, Walmart, Best Buy, Amazon, wherever. So, I mean, if you're diligent, I think you can still get one. But
Yeah.
it's just going to be, you got to be
I
like
mean,
watching it
you got to be
pretty
right
closely.
there, and then you got to
Yeah,
be lucky. Because
yeah,
like with Walmart, like I saw that it's coming, and then I get the like I sign up for these alerts, and I mean it's a lot of work. It's
yeah,
work. I mean you're like, oh, there's an alert. It's coming now. We got to get on the computer immediately and start trying to buy it, and then you just have to hope that you happen to get into the luck of the random algorithm to select you into the queue.
yeah.
Um,
Get all the
it'd be interesting to see. I don't know. It like there's got to be a better way, but I guess there isn't. It's just like, the lottery kind of thing, and you get that, and then you get the whole scalper issue, and
yeah,
it's bugging me that people that get it, they keep trying to get them for their friends, or I mean, they claim for their friends or whoever,
yeah,
and on the one hand, I can understand that, like if I had a buddy that was also trying to snag a PS5 and I was adept at getting them, I'd help them out, but um, and I just the scalpers have to be making money. People are I don't know who's buying these $800 PS5s on eBay, but somebody is
yeah.
to make it worthwhile for them. So
Yeah, it's probably, yeah. I mean, I don't fault the people if they're getting it for somebody. That's fine. But yeah, it's just the
yeah,
scalpers that are, and I don't. I've racked my brain just trying to think how you could get past that, and there's really no way. I mean, if a store sees, hey, there's a sale, they're just gonna they're gonna throw it out there. They don't care who it's gonna be. Uh,
yeah.
so I mean,
It'd have to there'd have to be some like sort of thing where I guess Sony or Microsoft takes like tighter control over distribution of their own thing and like kind of ensures like you have to have an account with us. I mean,
yeah,
Sony's doing that a little bit now with their I forget what the store is called now. PlayStation. It's not PlayStation Direct. It might I don't know. Whatever their online store is, like they are doing invitations to people with like PS Plus accounts or something.
yeah,
So it's they're trying to filter it to like directly to a gamer that's going like one gamer per system
yeah,
type thing. And but when you're going through Target or Best Buy or something, it's hard to have that control. And I'm sure Target and Best Buy, they don't want to. They're not going to want to play that game. I don't think that's like
yeah.
a lot of
That's a lot.
infrastructure and yeah,
Yeah, it's a lot of work for them on their end trying to figure out what's what. So, and actually, yeah, I think that's how DB got his too. He was on the preview program, I believe, for Xbox, and they send out invites every once in a
yeah.
while for them. Yeah, and that's how he got
So
his.
my problem is I'm not a PlayStation Plus subscriber. So I
Okay.
mean I've been on the PSN for decades, right? Since there was a PSN.
Yeah,
But I don't typically I play most of my multiplayer on PC, so I don't like all my stuff on the PlayStation is like those single player experiences. So put me at a disadvantage apparently.
yeah. I mean, I always thought like maybe okay, going along those lines is like, hey, you got they should be able to tell this too. Like, hey, you got a PSN account. You obviously play, however many hours a day or week or month or whatever. Here, let's give you the opportunity to do it first. Like, like it's a voucher or however they do it, or if it's like the preview program. But they, target the the actual people playing the games first, and then maybe throw it out there for the general masses. For like
That
just
doesn't that doesn't do very well. That doesn't bode well though for grown-ups who game.
well, that's true, but
Because we are at a disadvantage compared to the high school and college crowd
that's
when it
true.
comes to time investment.
Yeah, and
But
that's the other thing. Yeah, then you kind of don't know, obviously, because obviously it's probably going to be more kids than anything that are going to be playing
yeah,
those accounts. But I don't know. It was just always a thought
th-
of mine.
I think it's just like I said, I'm just kind of accepted it, and I've been waiting all week. There's rumored to be a Target drop imminently. I'm avoiding the GameStop bundle things because
Oh yeah,
most of the games, like I already have Ghost of Tsushima, and then I don't play sports titles typically, so I don't care about like. Recently, they've been bundling NBA 2K2 or something, or 2K22 or whatever it is.
yeah.
Um, but I'm gonna still try to go for the just buying the system. So we'll see.
All right. Well, let's get off the consoles for now. We might come. We're actually going to be coming back to Sony here in a little bit near the end, but let's jump over to some software. And we got actually we both put this up there. If you want to start off on the talk of this, but Diablo 2 Resurrected. What do we got news on that recently?
So Diablo 2 Resurrected is like their remaster is probably too strong a word, right? I don't know, kind of remaster, kind of whatever. Um, and of the classic. And back in the day, they did not have an ultra wide monitor. So they did not code the game to account for that screen ratio. And what that means is if you play the game now on an ultra wide, or like some of the beta testers played it on an ultra wide, ranged attacks, like they could just like get on one side of the screen and attack, and like the monsters didn't have the ability to like it messed up the entire balance of the game. It was like a cheat. You could um, completely cheese it. So the completely makes sense. They announced, you know what? We're not going to have ultra wide support. We're going to do the little bars on the side and go with that. And I completely and 100% support that. Uh, when you have an old movie that was filmed in a certain ratio, I hate when they redo the ratio. They like either they slice off the top and they slice off the bottom to make it like, no, you're getting rid of movie. I don't care if there are bars on the side. Give me what the director intended. Okay, so the game functions at this screen ratio. We'll just we'll have to play it at this screen ratio. Um, do you agree with that assessment, or
No, yeah, I mean
did
I
you have a
totally.
strong feeling?
No, yeah, I mean I totally agree. Like the issues that they that arose from that, and this was it. This was this initially from the beta, right? Where you said they caught all this, or
It was in, I guess, the alpha. I'm not
oh,
sure.
okay, alpha.
Some preview build of some sort.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And I mean, maybe down the line they could fix that potentially. Who knows? They could patch it in. I mean, probably not, but yeah. I mean, it's totally understandable. At least, I mean, for me, it's totally understandable, and probably you
Yeah.
and Nagascles and even DB,
Even DB.
even DB, even though he's not like a computer guy per se, um, but yeah, it's like I said, it's totally understandable that they would have to do something like this, and I don't fault them for it. I mean, I'll probably pick up the game, probably not right away. I mean, I did play Diablo 4, or I'm sorry, Diablo 3. I have been playing it on the Switch off and on for the past like year or so, and I've enjoyed it. And I know everybody's always said like this is the best one out there, so yeah, I'll probably pick it up eventually. So
Yeah,
I don't remember if it's
I'd
coming
be
for the Switch or not, but I'd probably I mean I'd pick it up on Xbox too if I really
I'd
wanted
be
to.
willing to pick it up as well. It's not high on my radar, but like
Yeah.
some of you 2KG hosts kind of get excited about it. Like I could be convinced to join the bandwagon. So,
Hey,
but there was
we pulled you
what's
into
that?
call we pulled you into Call of Duty, so Anything's possible.
That's for next week. That's for next week.
That's all right.
Um, so the one piece though that I kind of don't like is they also said that they're removing TCP/IP support, noting that it wouldn't be present. This is from PC Games N. Wouldn't be present in the beta or the final release. The decision was taken because the team found, quote, significant security related issues after the technical alpha. And I kind of don't 100% feel like that's a great excuse. Because, like, any game that's communicating on the internet is also using TCP/IP stack. So, it's not like some foreign technology. It's still active. They just, if it is a security thing, they're being lazy about implementing said security mechanisms because their game is already using TCP/IP to communicate to the servers,
Yeah.
which probably implies that they want to control said communications. They're kind of eliminating some of the ability for somebody to set up like a private server or something, like, and mod that. Like they're kind of that's like kind of like a that's what's kind of getting the Diablo 2 community up, getting them up in arms a little bit, removing that ability to kind of have your own thing. So, they say they want to keep the game's ecosystem as secure as possible. That could also be read as we want to control the game's ecosystem as much as possible. So that's my take on that.
It does say though that you could still modify some stuff, just not like everything, I guess. So
Yeah, like modify specific files that adjust the value of skills, items, and more. So
yeah,
um, it's not completely removing modding, but
it's limited. So.
yeah. And I'm not gonna I'm not gonna fault them for like having that structure either. I mean, in this era, we're so used to playing games that like require an internet connection or something to a company's servers. That's not terribly surprising. I think what bothers people is they had that freedom in the past, and that's being taken away.
Yeah.
So
Well, being on console now exclusively, I'm pretty much used to that now, since I don't PC game all too much anymore. So, or at least not a game like this. So definitely, I wouldn't be able to use this on my current laptop that I use. So, but I mean, like I said, for me personally, like I said, it doesn't bother me. But I could see, yeah, how I mean, it kind of goes back to like when I was playing on PC. I used to play a lot of surprising Call of Duty back on the PC, and there'd be free maps like all the time that you can get and free stages and whatever. But going on console, it's just like you get cut off from all that, and now I'm just like used to it. I hate to say that, but now I'm just kind of used to it. But there are times though, it's like, oh man, even not just Call of Duty, but just other games where it's like, oh, I wish I could tweak this or that, and I just can't because that's how consoles are. But even consoles nowadays sometimes allow modding on depending on the games. So we'll see what happens going forward with that. All right, so let's jump from Diablo 2 to a game called Turbo Overkill that's coming out in 2022 and this article is from NintendoLife.com. We're obviously talking about it for the Switch, but it's coming to, I believe, everything pretty much. And this is a kind of old school, kind of faster paced 3D shooter, first person shooter, kind of like Doom and Quake and stuff like that, Duke Nukem. And actually, one of the let me see, he's the creative. This is a guy, the founder of 3D Realms, co-founder Scott Miller, is kind of part of this too. He's got creative support in this game. And if you watch the trailer, and I was watching the trailer, I think it was yesterday, and a little bit this afternoon, and it is like wow, this is like pretty much Doom, but it's in a cyberpunk kind of atmosphere or area, and you kind of just like rolling like I mean, even it almost looked even faster than like the new Dooms, Doom and Doom Eternal, Doom 2026, excuse me, Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. This guy's just like flying all over the place, on the stages, and he's got like this, chainsaw strapped to his leg, or it might be even part of his leg. Just flipping around and shooting people, and kneeing people in the face with this, chainsaw knee or chainsaw leg, and it's just, it's kind of this fast action, uh, action game. But it actually looks pretty cool. I don't think I'd ever heard of this game either, too, which was kind of surprising. And I think I'm trying to remember. I think Gascles actually put this one up there initially in our Discord news section. I just found it kind of cool. Just kind of, just kind of old 3D, uh, FPS game that, like, just totally weird and wacky and violent, obviously, but it just looks like a good time, and maybe a little bit more than I had with Doom Eternal when I was trying to play it. I that game just like frustrated me like to no end, just with like I
So,
guess Glees.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think anyone on because I had a similar review of that. I don't think anyone on E2KG liked that game.
No, I know Game Logic kind of like, I don't want to say forced himself, but I think he actually finished the game at some point. I know he played a good
He-
bit of it.
Yeah, he tried to dissuade me from getting it, and I was like, I go through this cycle, and that's probably this time of year, which is why I picked up Call of Duty, where I'm just like, I want to play a first person. I feel like a good FPS,
Yeah.
and I think he tried to warn me, but I didn't listen to him to my chagrin.
It was just the lack of ammo. It's like you had to
Yeah.
constantly be, watching your ammo. And in a game like that, it's like, come on. I mean, you got to give me a little bit more, and make it a little easier for me to pick stuff up, or somehow get these ammo packs. But this game, I don't
And
know if it's going to be the same thing in this game or not.
if you,
But
if you run out of ammo, you have a chainsaw leg. So,
yeah, just chainsaw everybody. So
although you have a chainsaw or something in Doom Eternal, and they still make that limited with the gas cans or whatever.
yeah, yeah. Any way to bring you down in that game. So, but that's we've talked about that to death, I think. But this one, no, this
It's
one
a,
looks pretty cool. I kind of like the aesthetic too of the cyberpunk, uh, you know,
it's kind of
setting.
weird. Like we went through. I mean, I guess we still have that indie like Super Nintendo era stuff, and we're getting that indie 3D level, like 3D stuff now, like where it's like old school. Um, which I don't know what that says about like how people view AAA or whatever, but I mean, I'm old enough to remember when you jump from system to system, you're expecting like a massive like increase in graphical capabilities, and I don't feel like people like worry about that quite as much these days.
No, yeah, I mean it's been, I mean even from like the 360 to the one, I mean it was significant. You could see the difference, but it wasn't like a total, like jaw dropping, like going from like Super Nintendo to 64 or anything like that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's all about, and I've even said this too. It's all about the indie stuff now. I've kind of, you know, gone that way myself, just because. Well, I mean, there's really nothing releasing all too much as far as like AAA stuff. So, uh,
We will get to that when we talk about PlayStation news at the end of the show.
yes, we shall. And speaking of, I guess you can call this an indie studio. No Man's Sky has recently thrown out a new update. Kind of one of I think they do like once a quarter. I believe they do like these big updates. And they threw out a new one called Frontiers, which they actually teased about, let's say about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it finally came out. What was this? This is from, I think, earlier this week, the end of last week. So that now you have, as they put it in this IGN article and other articles I've seen, a living, breathing Moss Isley type settlements. So you have these like little cities, little towns, little villages that you can actually take over and become kind of the leader of it. And you gotta, the denizens of the settlements, the NPCs, will give you like different missions that you have to do, to help them out, or, build stuff, or whatever you got to do to get to to help them out, and you can kind of expand, I think, on the city even by yourself. Like obviously, there's building in this game already, or you can just as you do like different stuff, stuff will pop up in these settlements. So it's kind of cool. Unfortunately haven't had a chance to totally check this out. I know when it first came out, like I think 2 or 3 days later, I tried to play the game, but there was actually some bugs that were causing crashes and just like lockups on the game, and which happened to me. I like just totally got booted out of the game, like in the middle of. I wasn't even in one of these settlements. I was just like on a planet somewhere. I was walking around, and all of a sudden I just got booted out of the game. So I want to actually hopefully I've done at least one patch, possibly two. I think they might have had like an emergency patch or something, or update that they threw out there. But I definitely want to go back in and look at this again. Try to find one of these settlements. I didn't even get to one. So it's kind of cool, and I think everybody's been talking about No Man's Sky, is how they kind of turned around the game. Hello Games is the publisher or the developer, excuse me, and they also have there's another one coming out, I believe, called Cartographers, or might have actually been part of this, I think, where that's more of kind of spacefaring. You kind of plot out your destinations and kind of like visit planets and do a little bit more exploring instead of just kind of staying on the planet like you can in the frontiers. So update. So they're doing a lot of stuff. So I'm happy that they keep expanding on this, and every few months, every time they do one of these big expansions, I'll jump back in and play for like a few weeks or even a month or so, depending on what's going on. There's been some like the derelict ships, which it was fine. I did a couple of those, but and you do get some important stuff that you find in these derelict ships. Kind of gives it a more of like Aliens. What's that one from EA? The one in space, the horror game. I can't remember what it's called now. If you can remember that or look it up, but kind of gives it like that. It's like more of kind of a horror-ish kind of atmosphere when you're walking through these abandoned ships and fighting off these little creatures. They almost look like the Flood, kind of reminds me of those from Halo. But it was kind of fun the first couple times, and then it's just like kind of got repetitive, and it's just like you're limited in movement too when you're in these ships, so you can't like fly around like you can on planets or on certain ships and stuff like that. So, but they're hit and miss. I mean, you're obviously not going to like everything, but I just like how they keep dishing out the updates and free. Everything's been free since the beginning of the game, I believe. There hasn't been any paid content, at least not of yet, which gets me to wonder like I know you can still buy the game itself, but it's just like I'm surprised they're not putting in some kind of system where you like buy stuff, and they even put in like a kind of like a hub world we can go into and kind of interact with other people, and there's kind of almost like a battle pass kind of a thing in there, but it's all just in-game currency, so it gets kind of grindy, which is fine. I mean, I like that sometimes, but yeah, there's plenty in there to play, and then they just keep adding more and more stuff. So, I don't know if you've ever had a chance. Did you ever buy this game? I thought you did, didn't you?
Yeah, I have it on Steam. This is like the one game where every time one of these updates comes out, I'm like, man, I did like the little bit that I played of it. And I think I got to get back into it, and then I never do.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, I feel like a little bit intimidated by starting from scratch again because I'd have to.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how far I got. I have no idea what I was doing when I stopped, when I fell off. But I'm a little bit concerned that they chose to emulate a Star Wars property instead of a Star Trek property.
What would be the equivalent in Star Trek? Uh, like a space station?
I was thinking of like, I mean, they could do something like Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
They could do something like Risa and have like like resort communities, randomized resort communities. That would be good.
Yeah.
Um,
They do have space stations, like not in every galaxy or every solar system you go to, but most of them. But I mean, it's kind of like that might be one thing they overhaul at one point. It's kind of the same basically, like on the inside. The outside looks different more or less each time you go to a different galaxy, but the inside is like pretty much the same. It's like split right down the middle.
yeah.
You can go on either side, and it's kind of the samey. So that's one thing maybe they can do. But yeah, maybe that's another E2KG game night we can do at some point. I know DB has. I don't remember if Vageski's ever played No Man's Sky or not.
I'm sure he has it. Like I think it's too big of a game for him to have not picked up at some point. But
Oh,
it wouldn't surprise me if he hasn't touched it before
yeah, that's true.
either.
Hey, he plays Star Citizen, so he can play this game. That's a way huge game. So, and Eve, did he ever play Eve? I thought he did. He play Eve? I know he played Star Citizen. Can't remember if he played
I
Eve or not.
believe he played Eve Online
Yeah.
and he had criticisms. Um, he doesn't. I think his criticism with that is like he could build something up and then have it like destroyed by
Oh,
some other
okay.
player.
Yeah. Okay. I couldn't remember if that was that one or if that was Star Citizen. So, I mean, that possibly could happen on
Like,
that one too.
yeah.
But all right. So, let's actually before we jump into the Sony news. Actually, I'm going to jump into Sony news, but I'm going to pull one of I guess Cleese's, or I'm sorry, Game Logic's news stories, which was Sony acquired Fire Sprite, studio born out of Sony's Liverpool closure. So this was just from a day ago, I believe. This was announced that they bought Fire Sprite Studios, and I wasn't really familiar with the studio before. I didn't until I was reading the article, but I guess they worked on the Playroom and the Playroom VR back on the I shouldn't say back on the PlayStation VR, as well as making the Persistence, which I'm not sure, exclusively for PlayStation VR, which I'm assuming is a game. Um, and then later bringing it to the regular consoles for the DualSense, the PS5 DualSense controller. You can use that. But I don't. I don't. Were you familiar with this studio?
Not particularly, but it sounds like they made games that weren't going to be on my radar anyway. So,
Okay. Yeah.
um,
Because this is, I believe it said it was like the third studio they've. Maybe not in this article. It might have been one of the article I've seen. I think earlier today or yesterday. It's like one of the third studios they've bought recently. Obviously, they have Insomniac, and this. I don't know if this article says it or not. What that second studio was, but
it's Housemark.
okay, yeah. So they're picking up kind of bigger and smaller stuff, But I mean, it's good just to bolster. Not that I don't even know if they really needed to bolster stuff because they always seem to be pretty good at shelling out exclusives for Sony or for PlayStation anyways. But I guess it's always good just to pick up stuff.
Yeah. I
Improve
mean,
on.
if I'm a company, like there's a part of me that's like if I'm already just kind of hitched my wagon to a particular first party developer, like first party studio. So like, they were like very Sony centric anyway. I I welcome the maybe I'm naive about this, but I welcome the stability that would come with it.
Yeah,
But I mean the list of studios that have been shut down by that is also an extensive list. So maybe, like I said, I might be naive with that, but
yeah. No, although lately it seems like when studios have been bought, they've pretty much been kind of left to their own devices. So I know we've seen that with Microsoft and even a little bit with some of the other like EA and stuff. Sometimes they kind of fold into another studio that they already have, but sometimes they'll just leave them alone and let them do what they want. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with this one if it's renamed or if they just leave it. I know a lot of times the companies like to rename them just for like the different locations and stuff like that, or whatnot, but or kind of keep it uniform with what they've named other studios. But we'll see what happens with this one. And I mean, I think the update they haven't brought out the update to this PlayStation VR yet. So I'm sure they're going to be working a lot on that since they've worked on that already previously.
right.
So or at least other components of it. All right, what do you got for us for Sony upgrades from old gen to next gen for us?
So the way Kotaku phrases it starts off, good news, you won't have to pay Sony extra money to upgrade your PS4 copy of Horizon Forbidden West to the PS5 version. Bad news, Sony ain't offering free upgrades anymore after this. So, um, I we've had discussions like this in the past, especially around like Spider-Man Miles Morales, with regards to like what they're doing as far as you get the PS4 version, does that automatically get you the PS5 version when you get the PS5? You know, how does that look? Um, but with they kind of came out, they're doing that to a certain extent with Horizon or Forbidden West. Um, I think so. Let's see. There's 9 different versions of the game. Only some more expensive variants include the option to play on PS4 and PS5, so you get that free upgrade. Um, I don't think the standard versions are going to get you that. He said none offered free or even paid upgrade paths from the PS4 version to the fancy PS5 edition. This was odd because in the past Sony had promised that these kinds of upgrades would be free. So, um, there is going to they're going to be doing so, like we'll document, I guess, as time moves on, how this is going to work with Horizon Forbidden West. But um, it's not going to last. So there's they announced what's going to the paths. People got upset, and then they're kind of walking it back. But in that same update where they're saying, okay, we'll do these other paths for you. I want to this is what Jim Ryan, the president and CEO of Sony Interactive, said. I also want to confirm that today, moving forward, PlayStation first-party exclusive cross-gen titles, new releasing on PS4 and PS5, both digital and physical, will offer a $10 USD digital upgrade option from PS4 to PS5. This will apply to the next God of War and Gran Turismo 7 and any other exclusive cross-gen PS4 and PS5 title published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. Um, so they're going to charge. So the problem, I guess you could say, is it's not going to be free. It, I still am holding on to the playing a game on Nintendo and also releasing a version on the Super Nintendo, or just I still think of things as like individual SKUs. So like I don't feel like they were ever obligated to do this in the first place. Like I feel you bought the PS4 version, you bought the PS4 version. So it's always been like I've always thought it was just kind of like a nice gesture regardless. They've probably been forced into it given the way that Microsoft is viewing their consoles less like individual units and more like you have like a suite of consoles that you can choose from, like where you want to be,
Yeah.
and a game can play on anything. So like that like PC mentality. But I back in the day, Nintendo console gamer me, like that wasn't a thing, and I never thought about it. Like I bought the PS4 version. That's what I should expect to have. If I want to play it on PS5, I should be patient or just buy the PS5 version. So
Yeah. I mean, it's and a $10 upgrade is not terrible. I
no,
mean, to move up, but yeah,
it it makes the headline also kind of makes it imply that like it's not there is no upgrade path period, like just the way it was phrased. Um, you know, Sony will no longer offer free next gen upgrades for its first party games. Like free is the key word. $10 is, like you said, not to me like a terribly grotesque gesture in order to get, better content. So
yeah, and they do mention that third parties is still up to those publishers if they want to do those free upgrades or not. So I mean, you never know. Um, But speaking of Sony and their games, we did have a Sony PlayStation showcase today, actually, which I don't even remember there being like an announcement about this. Like I just saw it on it wasn't even my Twitter feed. I think
Yeah.
I was like on another Discord and somebody like posted the link for it. I was like, oh, I didn't know they were doing one. So had you heard about this beforehand? You might
No,
have.
it
Oh, you hadn't.
surprised me when you posted on it too. I
Yeah,
mean, I've been busy, but yeah, I didn't see this. So, I mean, I kind of looked through and I watched a little bit of it.
yeah,
Um,
same. I kind of caught a little bit when it was going on, but I was still at work, so I was like, I'll just I'll
yeah.
have to catch it later. So I just kind of ran through the write up here. The same.
Um, so if we circle back to like what you were talking about, like forgot how you phrased it, but I think I complained about something similar with Gamescom from DB, and it's just if you're looking at this list, we have Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake, Project Eve, which like as Eurogamer says it's Bayonetta. It does definitely looks like that actiony title with a little bit of fan service thrown in with the protagonist. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. So okay, we got a remake, something, and then another game. Uh, Wonderlands, which is spin-off. Forspoken. Um, I hadn't had a chance to see that one, but that looks kind of new. But then we have Rainbow Six Extraction, Alan Wake Remastered, another remaster. Grand Theft Auto 5 coming. Ghostwire Tokyo is like kind of a newer thing. Uh, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, kind of using a major IP. Let's see, Deathloop. There's some original stuff, but we also get Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection, so additional remasters. um,
That one's
which
that one's for PC though. That should be something.
oh yeah,
Because I don't
also
think
for
those.
PC.
Yeah, I don't think those have come out for PC for before, as far as I know. It seemed
Um,
on another article. It seemed like that. That was like a big thing.
well, I mean, Sony's obviously started to move stuff to that platform. So
Yeah.
we got more Marvel stuff with Wolverine, um, GT7, Gran Turismo 7, which should excite Agasically or Game Logic. Ha ha ha. So and then there's just a reveal of Spider-Man 2, so we get another sequel, and God of War Ragnarok, which while I am excited about it, it's yet another sequel. So we got a bunch of sequels and remakes and well-known intellectual properties. There's just a handful of stuff in here that it's like, oh, okay, somebody kind of designed a fresh game. And that, I don't know, I get cranky about it. um, although, like, I do nothing to stop it because, I buy the sequels and we move on. But it, I want more death loops and less remasters.
Yeah. Deathloop and Ghostwire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was. They had a good handful of new titles, but yeah, I mean, definitely the remakes and sequels, kind of, out. I wouldn't say outshine, but outdo everything else. I Forspoken, I think I've heard of that before, but maybe just by name. That's a Square Enix or Enix, however you want to say it. Luminous Productions game. It looks pretty cool. Kind of fantasy magic, like third person game. Looks pretty cool. Eve Online, like I said, is kind of Bayonetta, Devil May Cry kind of action, melee shooting type of gameplay, which we've obviously seen before, but it's obviously going to look better on PS5. Uh, yeah, I know. I think the Knights of the Old Republic was probably like the biggest one that everybody was making a big deal out of because everybody's been wanting that remake. Okay, I mean, sure, I never played it, and I believe that one is timed exclusive. I thought I saw somewhere. Here it says it's console exclusive, and then coming to PC. But I thought I saw it was a timed exclusive, so hopefully that'll come out
Yeah,
for
I
other
think
things.
I saw it was timed as well. Yeah, I mean, I played the original and enjoyed it. Uh, it is one of those games that has attained a level of mythic status. Um, and it was a great game. It just, I'm not sure if it reaches that level.
Yeah, and then as far as that, that was just like a CG like trailer too. They didn't even show any gameplay. At
Yeah.
least most of the other games, I believe, they had shown um, gameplay for the most part. And some of these, obviously, we've kind of seen probably for the last couple of years, like Ghostwire and
Grand Theft Auto 5, I
Hawaii.
don't know if we've really seen that.
But it's updated. It looks better. But yeah, that one I was like, okay, really? I mean, you gotta throw that in there. That's what you got. Actually, the one the Vampire and Masquerade Blood Hunt I actually just heard about. I think a couple days ago, which I hadn't heard about before. I guess that's like a battle royal vampire game.
Yeah, I actually heard about it this afternoon chatting with somebody. They're like, "Oh, I've been playing Blood Hunt." I'm like, "What's that?" And it's like some sort of vampire masquerade type battle royale. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
So,
guess it's on PC right now on early access. So it hasn't
mhm.
even officially um, come out on there yet. But yeah, I mean, there's some cool stuff. I was kind of surprised by the Wolverine game actually from Insomniac. That was coming from Insomniac, uh, just because I didn't think they were going to be let to do anything else. That's kind of surprising. And plus, they have the Spider-Man game coming out too. So I didn't realize that studio was so big that they could. I don't know if they're splitting up or if because I don't think they're really. Well, I think Spider-Man was 2023, so maybe they've been working
Oh
on
yeah,
this
20.
Wolverine game
Yeah.
or something. Yeah. So
Um, I mean, anytime there's a race, like I might pick up Gran Turismo 7 just
Play War
because
Thunder now.
it's a racing game. But and that's another one of those genres where I don't typically play it, and every now and then I really get that itch to play something like that. So,
yeah,
um, what was the other one that I don't know. I didn't realize Deathloop was about to come out like this next week on
yeah,
Tuesday. And that's a Bethesda one, right? So like that's one of these Microsoft games that are still being, and I think that's not console exclusive to PS5, is it?
I don't think they've ever actually said either way. So I'm assuming maybe it's like a timed exclusive. I don't think I ever saw like a direct, answer whether
Ti
that.
timed exclusive.
Yeah, I mean it's PC too, but I don't know if eventually it'll come out to Xbox or not. But I think Ghostwire is though. I believe. I think that was a PS5 exclusive as far as I know.
Okay. Sony and now Microsoft owned Bethesda have announced that Deathloop remained a timed PS5 exclusive until September 14th, 2022 at the earliest.
Oh,
So,
okay, so about a year, yeah. Which is kind of usually when they have those exclusives. It's always about a year or so.
yeah. Um, Ghostwire Tokyo, did it say what?
It says PS5 and PC, but
Spring 22.
yeah,
Okay.
so
So
next
it's
year.
not as close. Um, so yeah, Marvel's, I gotta watch, I haven't watched, I confess I did not watch the gameplay or that trailer for that, but with the announcement, when it was announced, like that is the rare comic game that's on my radar. So we'll see how that one goes.
For the Guardians, you mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
Guardians of the Galaxy. But I think that's more of a single player experience too, which
Yeah, that's just single player. Even though you have a team and you don't switch
yeah, a
between characters,
story based thing.
which I still don't
Yeah.
understand, but that's all right. That's their decision.
Um, but so yeah, we'll see. Hopefully I'll get to play some of these
Were
on the
you?
PS5.
I can't remember. Were you a Borderlands fan?
I played through Borderlands 2 with my brother, and I did enjoy it. We never picked up 3. Um, I think by then I had moved on to Destiny 2, and I don't know. There's only so much time, so.
Yeah.
But Tiny Tina Wonderlands, I mean, I, Tiny Tina the character was always one of my favorites, so
Play
this
War
is
Thunder
kind of a
now.
different take on it, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was weird. I don't know. They had like I just saw like a bit of the trailer, and it looked like they almost had like, I don't know if it's like an overworld or if it was just like a cartoony thing that they had just during the thing, but it was almost like kind of those chibi characters where it's like, little body, big head, that was kind of like kind of running around this like overworld. But then it like went into like the normal first person shooters. So I don't know if that was just like an animation maybe just in the game, or if that's how it kind of is. But it was just kind of weird. I have to go back and look at the trailer just to see what was going on there because I was kind of confused. I was like, wait a minute, what is this? 'Cause I mean, you could tell it was a Borderlands character. It was still
mhm.
like that cell shaded kind of look, but it was just like those chibi characters at first, and then like I said, it switches. But I was like, what's going on here? So I don't know if that was just part of the trailer or what was going on.
I think the other one that I might be interested in taking a peek at is the Alan Wake remastered, because that's 505 games, right? And I really like Control,
Yeah,
so
yeah, same guys. Yeah, Remedy. Yep.
yeah.
Which I was gonna say
And
that's kind of surprising, but I guess I think that was already announced. They were going to release that for pretty much everything, the remaster. So, 'cause
yeah,
initially
I
that was Xbox exclusive. So,
I and I've never played Alan Wake, so I will play. The remaster is a little bit welcome, but I feel a little
so
bad.
you will play it.
Yeah, I feel a little bad because like I say all this stuff and like I'm like, man, it's a bunch of sequels and remasters, but I'm gonna pick most of them up.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not quite ready yet to take like a philosophical stand on this and only buy uh um unique IP, like fresh intellectual properties, but I don't know. I feel like back in the day there was more excitement around these sorts of things, and I just maybe I'm too old.
I think that's kind of everybody though, that they kind of with like remasters and reboots, they're like, I don't want to, I'm not buying these. And then there's that one series though that's like, oh, okay, I'll buy that one. It's kind of goes like that. To me, I mean, I always think of it like, okay, yeah, there's remasters. Obviously, I've seen it because I've been gaming since the Atari days, so I've seen pretty much everything. But there's people out there who might not have seen it, and yeah, you can kind of go back and on a lot of those games and maybe play them through backwards compatibility or whatnot. But it's kind of nice to see like a fresh coat of paint on there, and sometimes they do more. Like Final Fantasy VII, obviously that was just like a reboot or I mean, like a remaster. It was like a from what I've read, it's been like almost a totally different game of when you're going through that. So I don't know if I don't know if I like that it's in parts, but I mean I haven't played it obviously because I don't have a PS5 or any kind of PlayStation. I think it's on PS4 too, but it just kind of works out that way. But yeah, like I said, through all of these, Forspoken kind of jumped out at me just because I like that kind of fantasy magic aspect of it, and I would say Wolverine, but I mean it's really just a CG trailer. But it's kind of interesting that Insomniac's going to be doing it. So yeah, I mean they're usually spot on with their um, comic book games. So I'm sure it's going to be a fairly decent game. But, and then everything else, it's fine. Like most of it's exclusives, so I wouldn't be able to play it anyways. So it's not hit or miss. It's just a kind of a miss for me in that respect.
So is there anything here that would make you tempted to attempt or try and acquire a PS5?
Not really. No, yeah, not in this showcase. I mean, there's some like I said, there's some cool stuff, but nothing to bring me over or bring me back, I should say, since I did have PlayStations up until the two before that. But yeah, there's nothing really. I think I've said it in the past. Like the only real game that was ever an exclusive to a PlayStation game that would probably bring me over would be like a Superman game. So Insomniac, if you get that going, or if they get like some kind of exclusive with what's the studio that does the Batman games? Rocksteady.
Rocksteady, yeah.
Yeah, if they did something like that, I'd be over there in a second. Especially if it was like a well-known, established developer that was doing it. So I'd jump over on that. But yeah, no, I mean, like I said, cool stuff, but nothing to make me jump right now, or even try to, even if I wanted to. I guess just because I can't. It'd be hard to find one, but I'd be on the hunt. Man, when I was looking for that Xbox Series X, I was on the hunt though. I'd be looking every day for stuff and had all kinds of, notifications and all kinds of websites that I was going to. So, yeah.
Well,
like a
wish
second
me
job.
luck.
Yeah. It's almost like a second job trying to find one. But yeah, I'm kind of glad, and I think a couple of you guys might have mentioned this that there's no new Nintendo hardware, even though there kind of is. But I mean, it's nothing that I would really need right now. So
That should be coming out soon, right? That was the fall that the OLED.
I think, I think October, November. I think it's supposed to be out. I believe.
Because it kind of, there was news and then there was nothing.
Yeah, I mean, probably just because it's kind of a sideways go at it. It's not really an upgrade. I mean, there's obviously the OLED and you get an Ethernet port on the dock now, but I mean, nothing like as far as like memory or hard drive or processing power and stuff like that. So that's just kind of there. All right. Anything else for the showcase that you found interesting? There's also that what is it? Chaya, I guess is how you say that.
Yeah, that looks like the most
It's like
indie type thing.
yeah, like platformy, I guess. Kind of a game.
Tropical adventure trailer.
Yeah. Kind of looks like just kind of jumping into like animals and stuff. So I don't know what that's all about, but it looks kind of cool though. She like can possess animals somehow, or just like kind of take over them. But yeah, looks cool. Like I said, that's kind of their platformer. Because they haven't really had a lot of. Well, I guess Ratchet and Clank, you call that kind of a platformer, and then what's that other one? Sackboy. I forgot what the original game he came from, but
Oh, Little Big Planet.
Little Big Planet, yeah.
What is that Chaya? There's a Steam page, but then it says it's exclusive to Epic. So the Steam
really?
page must be pretty old.
Oh, maybe, yeah. They probably like
PS4, PS5, and Epic Game Store.
Yeah, next year, yeah. Maybe it's probably just like a time exclusive, probably, more or less. Most likely. Maybe eventually we'll jump onto Steam. Yeah. All right. Any other comments on the showcase?
Nope. I think we mined enough out of that.
Yeah. A lot more than I thought we were going to. Well, there's a lot of stuff I didn't see too. I just kind of saw it like right before we started, and I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. Like the Wolverine thing, I didn't see until like right before we started.
Yeah.
When I was looking on through the site. All right. So let's go into next week. Well, obviously we'll do our GX show, our gamer experience show, and for that we have our picks plays. We got an official gameplay trailer reveal this week, or that's from last week, for Marvel's Midnight Suns. And while we're pretty clear on what the point of the Gotham Knights is, Midnight Suns still eludes us. Regardless, we know we now only have 5 more days until we get even more info on the new title involving Marvel's Magic lineup. And so play anything related to this impending release due out in March of 2022. So it can be superhero related, any tactical RPG, deck building, card battle, which we did find out it's kind of there's like some card battle stuff in there, card building, anything in the XCOM franchise, anything from Firaxis, or anything just you can justify as related, which I think some of us sometimes we bend the rules a little bit. But for myself, I'm probably gonna continue playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 on the Switch, and or DC Universe Online, which is also on the Switch, which I've been playing with a friend of mine the last few weeks, kind of off and on. So I jumped back into Marvel Ultimate Alliance, but I was, man, I don't know why I slept on that game because it's actually pretty cool. Maybe it's just because I was playing with my friend, playing co-op through it. You could just play through the story mode co-op, so it was maybe it was more fun that way. Any idea what you might play? I don't think you're a big comic book guy like normally, right? Or superhero
No,
guy.
I don't think I have any comic book related games really. I can.
Superhero-ish.
It'd probably be XCOM because I think there was a free weekend or something where you could claim XCOM 2 on Steam.
Oh, okay.
Back a while, like several months ago. But and it's sitting in my library. I haven't touched it yet. The other part of me wants to go back to Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle at some point,
I was gonna
and
mention
maybe
that.
maybe I could bend the rules in that direction.
Yeah, yeah, relates to that. Tactical RPG, more or less, sort of.
Yeah,
The Mario
kind
universe. Yeah.
of.
Wasn't that? Oh no, that was Ubisoft. That's right.
Is Mario a superhero?
I suppose. I mean, he could change into different suits and fly and throw fire and all that kind of stuff. I would assume he would be super. I think I'd classify him as a superhero. Game Logic and DBQ Hams don't have anything on here yet, so I'm sure they'll think of something because next week, Swiss, you'll be hosting next Thursday on September 16th, our GX show, and we'll all be on. Well, most likely. At least that's the plan. So
We'll try to keep it within a reasonable amount of time, but
yeah, at least an hour and a half. It seems
we enjoy talking about games, so
oh yeah, we got lots to talk about next week because I got one game that I think is going to surprise everybody. So, and I might have mentioned it in the text or in the chat, but I'm not sure. I don't remember.
I'm gonna have to go review the chat again, see if
Yeah.
you dropped any hints.
Yeah.
But I will also have a beyond the Call of Duty that Tao already spoiled the surprise.
Sure,
I might have a
yes.
different a new another game, a fresh game.
Oh, nice. All right. All right. So that's it for tonight. Thank you, SwissGuard, for joining me tonight. Actually, I didn't think like going through the news stories. I was like, oh man, I kind of had a hard time at first, but I'm glad we had some good talks on all our talking points tonight. So, so please once again join us next week for our GX show. For SwissGuard, I am Taomaster99, which I don't think I mentioned at the beginning of the show. Please take care of yourself out there. Take care of each other and play lots of games. And also, if you have any Pix Plays suggestions that you want for us to play, throw those out there too on YouTube and all the other sources where you can find us. Thank you, everybody. Good night, and we will see you next week.
Oh, for sure.